Hi, Paul here from Photo Genius. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the Photo Genius Photography Challenge number 23, where I challenge you to have a go at creating panoramic or panorama images. Now in this video, I'm going to explain to you what makes an image a pano image. I'm going to talk about what gear you're going to need, what's the best camera settings to use. I'm also going to show you how to stitch the images together to create one super wide panoramic image, just like the one behind me. Now, if you're new to the channel, a quick word on how the challenges work. I launched the photography challenges in March of 2020 as the world was beginning to go into lockdown. I wanted to give people something to be able to do and work towards while staying safely at home. Now, the challenges have kept going, originally weekly, now monthly, and with every photography challenge there is a different theme and a different hashtag. Now, this month's theme is all about panorama photography, but other topics have included portrait photography, black and white, abstract photography, night photography, and you'll find details of every single challenge on the Photo Genius website, and I've put a link below this video if you want to check that out. Now, as I mentioned, every challenge has a different hashtag, and this is because a lot of you will want to share your images to social media, and I want to be able to find those images. So this month's hashtag is PhotoGenius23. So what exactly makes an image a panorama image? Well, generally speaking, a panorama image is an image where the width of the image is equal to twice the height or greater. Take a look at this image I shot of Brisbane City and you'll see that the width is twice the height. So this image has a ratio of 2:1. This second image, the ratio is 3:1. Now, traditionally, most panoramas are wide and shot in the landscape format, but there's absolutely nothing to stop you doing a vertical panorama as well if you wish. Now, to create a panorama image is relatively easy, and in a moment I'm going to tell you what camera settings I recommend. But first, let's talk about the gear you're going to need. Now, firstly, of course, you're going to need a camera, and ideally you want a camera that allows you to set the camera manually. So a DSLR, a mirrorless or micro four thirds camera would be ideal. Now, lens. Now, you want a lens that is about mid-range in terms of focal length, so I'm thinking 50mm would be ideal. If you're using a camera that has an APS-C crop sensor, then around about 35mm should be fine. I wouldn't go too wide with the lens because wide lenses will distort perspective, particularly around the edges, and this may cause some problems when the images are being stitched together to create the single panorama. Now, the final thing you're going to need is a tripod. I definitely recommend a tripod to keep the camera level. I have seen, to be fair, people shoot panoramas using the camera handheld, but it's not something I would recommend. Now, a quick word about filters, and one in particular which is very popular with landscape photographers, of course, the polarizing filter. Now, if you have a polarizing filter and you're going to have a go at panoramic images, I would take the filter off the lens. And this is because to do a pano, you're going to take an image, move the camera, take an image, move the camera. Every time you move the camera, the polarization effect will change because you're altering the position of the lens in relation to the sun. Now, this may not look like an issue when you're looking at the images individually, but when it comes to stitching the images together, you may see the joins. Also, consider turning the camera on its side. Now, with the camera turned on its side, which we call the portrait mode, your image will of course be taller but not so wide. So this means when you're taking your pano, you're going to need to take more images. But this is good because you're going to be moving the camera smaller amounts, and this will help to reduce any lens distortion. So let's now talk about the camera settings. Now, it's really important when you do pano images for there to be consistency. If your images aren't consistent, then when you stitch the images together, you may see the joins. And what I'm talking about here is consistency in three main areas: exposure, focus, and white balance. So I'm getting set up to take my photo. It's about 20 minutes until sunset, and you'll see that I've got the camera here. It's a Canon 80D turned on its side because we're going to be shooting vertically. Now what I want to do is start setting the camera up, and let's start with focusing. Now what I don't want as I move the camera between shots is for the focus to adjust. So I'm going to turn autofocus off. So the first thing I'm going to do is look through the viewfinder, and then while holding the shutter button down, I'm going to reach over and switch the lens to manual focus. This means now the focus can't adjust, so in between shots the focus will be consistent. The next thing I want to do is make sure the camera is not set to automatic white balance. If it is, as I move the camera, the white balance might change, and again it's going to cause me problems when I'm editing and stitching the image together. So I'm going to select a single white balance option, and I'm going to go for the cloudy setting. Most Canon cameras have a Q button. You can use this to change the camera features. Here, selecting white balance and selecting cloudy. Likewise, most Nikon cameras have an I button. Press this, you can then access features like white balance. And again, I'm changing this to cloudy. So with the white balance done and the focusing done, all I've got to do now is balance my exposure and then start taking my pictures. Now my settings here are ISO 100. I've got the aperture f11. That's a good aperture setting for landscapes, perfectly suits the subject. All I've got to do now then is balance the exposure by adjusting my shutter speed. Then I can start taking my photos. So obviously you're seeing this on its side, but what we've got here is our ISO 100, aperture f11, and if we check the line meter, we can see we're underexposing. So I'm slowing down the shutter to balance the light. Once the marker's in the middle, we've got our shutter speed and we're ready to begin and start taking the first image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pan from left to right. So I've got my camera in position for the first image. I've got live view on, press the button, 2-second countdown on the timer, picture 1 done. I'm now moving my camera, and you'll see that I'm not moving it a great deal. I'm allowing about 1/3 of an image overlap for each shot. Picture number 2, and once again move the camera about 2/3 of a frame for picture number 3, and just keep repeating the process until we're done. Okay, so the sun has set over in that direction. It's going to get dark really quickly here, but I'm done. I've got the shots I needed. All I've got to do now is get back to the office and stitch them together to create one really cool pano shot. Now, before I show you how I take these images and turn them into one pano image, I want to tell you about a very special offer from Skillshare, who have kindly sponsored this video and this month's challenge. Whether, like myself, your passion is photography, or maybe you want to try something different like illustration, web design, music, or creative writing, you can find them all and more on Skillshare, an online learning community for creatives. Skillshare is a fun and informative way to learn new skills or build on existing passions and interests. I've been enjoying YouTube tips from MKBHD, and you can too, because for viewers and subscribers to this channel, Skillshare have a very special offer. The first 1,000 people to use the link in the video description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So don't miss out, click the link below this video and join me and thousands of others and improve on your creative skills with Skillshare. Next, how to create a panoramic image in Lightroom. Now, I wasn't counting at the time, but I ended up shooting 10 individual images, and the first thing I do when I get back to the office is to import them into Lightroom. Okay, so we've got our 10 images imported into Lightroom. Now I just noticed if I select one of these images, I'll select here number 7, make it a little bit bigger. I've just noticed this big blob here in the sky, and this is consistent in all of the images. So this means that I've got some dust on my sensor, and I am going to need to get my camera's sensor cleaned. Not something I'd recommend doing yourself, but what I'm going to show you is once I've stitched the panorama together, I'll show you how to remove that. It's pretty easy. Anyway, to stitch these images together, all we need to do is make sure all the images are selected. I then go up to Photo, down to Photo Merge, and choose Panorama. Now what Lightroom's going to do is to create a preview, and this may take a few moments depending on what sort of computer you're using. Now I would recommend just leaving these all as they are, their default options. Feel free to have a play around with these, but I've never had any problems with the standard settings. All I've got to do now literally is click on Merge, and the software will start merging the images together. Again, this may take a few moments, possibly a few minutes, depending how quick your computer is. And once Lightroom's finished doing its thing, you will see now that we have 11 images. Of course, the 11th image is our panorama. And what we're going to do is open this up now in the develop module. So I'm going to click on develop, and there's our pano. And already it looks pretty awesome. Now, in terms of that annoying sensor spot, it's actually just the one. So the software has actually got rid of this in the merging process. So what I'm going to do is just get rid of that by choosing the spot removal tool over to the right. Just click on here and the software will get rid of that for me. Now, in terms of editing this image, all I'm going to do is just raise the exposure slightly. I'm going to bring the highlights down a touch, increase the shadows just a bit to bring out some detail in the rocks and things. That looks pretty cool. I'm just going to change the white balance slightly just to make it a little bit warmer. That looks really, really nice. Let's zoom in and have a look. Now this, of course, is an image compiled from 10 full-size raw images. So the file size is going to be absolutely huge, but that looks pretty neat. Now what I may do just to finish this off is I might go down to the vignette tool here. I might just add a little bit of vignette just to darken the corners of the sky a touch. And I think that's done. And there's our panorama. I think that looks awesome. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this video and you're feeling inspired to get out there and take some panorama images. Don't forget, if you are getting involved in the challenge and you're sharing your images to social media, to please use the hashtag photogenius23. That way I can find the images and others can be inspired by them. I want to say a big thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up because it really helps the channel grow. If you want to say hi or leave a comment, you can do so in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and hope to see you again sometime soon. See ya. Bye.